Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Indie Informer Plays. I'm the Indie Informer, and today I'm playing Inhuman Resources, a Literary Machination. Rolls right off the tongue, but I think it's going to be a really fun game. And part of the reason I think it's going to be a really fun game is because I got something in the mail that was really fun about it. And I'm going to go through that before we jump in. But before we do that, hi everybody, how you doing? Dr. Mono in the chat first. I will give that title to you. Congratulations, Dr. Mono. I'm glad to see you in here. I have a lovely following of community that comes in, chats, has a great time during these streams. If you don't know, if this is your first time checking out any of my Friday streams, the community picks what I play. This particular week was very interesting because there were a lot of good games. There were a lot of good games to play from or to choose from, and my community actually ended up in a 4-way tie. So a meteor hit the Earth, and we ended up playing Inhuman Resources, and I think it's going to be a good one. But there are a lot of really amazing things happening right now. I think if you are not playing the demos in the Ludonarracon Steam event right now, you're missing out. There are some really good ones out there. Great games. I've been playing some demos. I'm not sure if they're all in Ludonarracon, but if you have not played Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3, go check out the demo because that's up. I talked a little bit about it in the Indie Council, but Besmirch has its demo up, so go check that out. It is a creepy, cozy farming sim survival horror game. And it looks really cool. I don't know if it's going to be too creepy or too farmy. I don't know. It's going to be fun. It looks really intriguing from what I've seen of it. I think it is. Okay, I'm going to get the title right. There is a demo up right now for the remake of the end of the best RPG ever made. Did I get the full title? Check it out because that's fun, and the developers are Game Informed fans. So, yeah, I think I'm just back from vacation this week. I'm just getting my feet under me and realizing that next week is PAX East. I don't think it's time for PAX East somehow. I thought I still had a couple of weeks to kind of get used to things, but I don't. Best RPG ever made, Yakuza 0, Dr. Mono. You're gonna have to check it out. It's a remake of the end of the best RPG ever made, and it looks like it's gonna be a fun time, so go check that out. But yeah, I'm still trying to get my head set on straight. I'm getting emails for things. I'm getting entirely too busy for next week, and I have to cut PAX East a little short because I have something that I've been invited to, which is really cool. I don't know if I can talk about it, so I'll wait to talk about it. It'll be a surprise when I'm there. Yeah, so I'm very excited to do all of that, but I'm very like, oh my gosh, I've got so much to think about right now. Just coming back from maybe vacation was a good thing, you know? Just to relax, get a little energy out there. If y'all are feeling overwhelmed, that's the word I'm looking for, overwhelmed, you should definitely take some time for yourself. Remember to take care of yourself and to breathe every once in a while because that's good for you. Is there anything else? I feel like there is something else I'm meant to talk about. Obviously, because I'm going to be gone at PAX and then this other thing for essentially the next 2 weeks. Indie Council is definitely not happening next week. I don't know about the week after. Maybe everybody else will come together and do that. But there's also probably not going to be any streams. You know, but maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I can't promise anything. I know that I have turned down the game sound for the last game that I played, which was very fun, but a little louder. So if you, in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. If I think you could hear me okay, let me know if you can hear anything going on with the game, because I think this is going to be a quieter game. And while I do that, I am going to go ahead and reveal what I got in the mail for this game. It looks like this. Ugh. Can we see it? Okay, handwritten, open first. And this lovely package with string right there. It is closed off with string, and my cats have found it incredibly fun to play with, so I've had to keep moving this string around. But, of course, we follow all the rules here. We never break any rules at the Indian Farmer. So we're going to open the package that says open first. And inside envelope is an actual note. On lined paper, it is handwritten. Immediately out pops this red card. I don't know if you can see. I'm covering it up with my fingers, but it has Semanacorp on it. Is the name of the company, the fake company in this game. And there's a nice little missive here for us. So let's jump into what this says. It says, Jay, don't panic. I can get you out of here. Good way to start. Good way to start. You just have to trust me, underlined. And this is all handwritten, by the way. Someone hand wrote this. I replaced your green security card with a red max level security equivalent. The code on the back should give you access to restricted data. Find the truth at any cost. Stay in contact. L. I don't know who L is. P.S. I have attached a document of high-risk Semanacorp asset. If you see them in person, run. Okay. That's what we need to know. And that is, I assume this larger envelope is going to be our asset to watch out for. So let's see here. Oh gosh, okay. There's a lot in here. Oh, okay. Did I get everything? Immediately, I'm seeing my face. So that's fun. I don't know if you can see me if I'm covering myself up there. Okay. Let's look at that. This is... It says, Jill Grote, Indian Farmer. This is my official badge for Semanacorp. Semanacorp? Semanacorp. You know what? I'm going to say it 20 different ways. And y'all know I'm going to be meaning this. This is an actual... This is an actual picture of me. They've printed out a picture of me. This is my official badge for the game. And I have a little lanyard. Obviously, we gotta share the love. Maybe, what if I wore this to PAX? That would be funny. Okay. I have an official pen because whenever you go to a job and they give you a silly little package, like a care package, there's always a pen. Like a... Oh. What is this? There is... Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. There is a little, like, microchip in here. Just in a plastic bag. Unlabeled. So I'm going to keep that safe, hopefully. And I have a little pamphlet. It says, Welcome to Semanacorp, your guide towards success in a post-truth future. And really, that's where we all are, you know? Our history... so there's a all history, but it's got like redacted information. So like they don't even trust me as a new employee with the information of the history of this thing. We don't know. It says founded in the year blank. We have no idea. By psychotherapist Gutrid Broadine. Oh gosh. Embrace the change today. Our commitments. Dedicated to providing customer, human resource, and recruitment solutions for businesses. I don't like how that sounds. I don't like how that sounds at all. Meet the team. Don't these people look nice? These are my coworkers, everybody. I've just made some good friends, I hope. We're going to go out for drinks, maybe? We're going to go out for parties. We're going to be besties pretty quick. Oh, there's a whole team. Boom. There you go. Whole team right there. Oh my gosh. And I have attached my, like, welcome to the team letter. And you'll notice there's a whole section down here that's literally just redacted. As a word of warning. Redacted. Onboard checklist. I have several things on my checklist, and one of them is completely redacted, so there's no way to know what my checklist is going to be. But it says, set your stovetop to high heat and blank. Repeat as necessary until blank. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Pat yourself on the back. Getting hired is a commendable achievement. That's good. I can already mark that one off. I'm achieving. Review our informal welcome to the family message. That's never a good thing. If you have like a workplace that's like, oh, we're just a big family here, that's a red flag. Watch out for that. Oh, it says do not skip this step as it could pose a risk to your long-term health and safety. Okay. Verify the personal information is correct attached to your lanyard on your employee badge. Revise the attached list of employee do's and don'ts. Insert the enclosed non-disclosure microchip into your least favorite hand. Oh, dang. Chat, what's my least favorite hand? I have to put this in. I have to insert this into my hand. If you lack access to surgical equipment, our complimentary ballpoint pen comes pre-sterilized. I thought it was just a pen, but no, it's a surgical tool. Prepare for that fun. Gah. It's just off camera, you hear me scream. Review your enclosed green level security clearance card, but we have, with our secret note, we've gotten a red one. Warning, if you receive erroneous employee badge or security clearance card, please contact your supervisor. A replacement or lobotomy appointment will be provided at their earliest convenience. Okay then. Okay, let's see what our employee do's and don'ts are. Are you ready? Do. Bring a positive attitude to work. Smiles are free. Do. Keep your workspace tidy and organized. We have a full janitorial team available in case of hazardous biomatter spillage. What am I doing? What is my job in this game? Do. Eliminate any extracurricular relationships that could accidentally propagate confidential company information. Well, I guess I'm single now, according to this. Check for mistakes before filing your paperwork. That's good. That's good. Flawless spelling is key to maintaining our company's public image. Do. Dress appropriately for the office environment. Save the Hawaiian shirts for when you're assigned to evaporation to go undercover is fun? Don't interrupt colleagues when they're speaking, particularly if you're a man and they're a woman. This is one of the most pervasive and overlooked forms of workplace misogyny. That is true. You know, we got one. We got one very good one. If you retain nothing else, probably listen to that one. Don't play loud music or create unnecessary noise, no matter how loudly anyone is screaming. Don't assist any specimens attempting to escape the nursery department. Remember the slogan, if you see them, seize them. Don't eat strong-smelling foods at your desk. Save them for your hovel. Don't attempt suicide by prematurely terminate your contract. Ensuring posthumous employee cooperation is a costly procedure. We don't get to go if we die. So that's my do's and don'ts as part of this new corporation. This is my contact, as mentioned in my secret note. It is Roy McIntyre. Doppelganger ID, replacement request date. Okay. I don't know what any of this, but I'm gonna keep it next to me so I can recognize this person. This is gonna be an important person. What did the special note say to are we supposed to trust them or are we supposed to run away from them? The code on the back should give it. I've attached a document of high risk Smyrna Corp asset. If you see them in person, run. Okay, so we want to run from this person. We want to run from Roy if we see him. It looks like they're WW2 sniper, so, you know, that's fine. We're all going to be fine here. Nothing bad's going to happen. This is going to be a great job that we all appreciate. Even though I've just had to stab my hand to insert a microchip, it's all going to be great. I'm going to keep my badge next to me. I'm going to keep my security card next to me. Let me know if you can hear the game once I enter in. And here we go. Human Resources. Inhuman Resources, a literary machination. Enter your name. Oh, gosh. I'm going to be super secretive about it. Here we go. There are 3 deaths. The first one, the body ceases to function. The second one, the body is co-signed to the grave. The third is that moment sometime in the future when your name is spoken for the last time. The phone call. An all too familiar screeching reverberates inside your brain. What is this? The noise comes in waves. The pain follows suit. You try your best to ignore both, but the mere fact that you've acknowledged the awful sound means it's already won. Your phone's alarm is simply much too loud to ignore. Okay, so it's not literally in your brain. Good. I don't know. With everything we just read, I don't feel trustworthy of anything. Defeated. Your eyelids peel apart like sheets of rotting Velcro. That is a heck of a painted picture. Blinking back a bad night's bleary haze. Oh man, I can literally feel my eyes like Velcro. Ugh. You lie in bed, awake against your consent. The room is almost pitch black, save for the intermittent flashing of your phone's screaming screen. A rancid, if routine, stench of unwashed bed sheets bids you a bitter, sweet good morning. You're home, for better or worse. Mostly the latter these days. Just once you wish you'd wake up somewhere else instead. Just once you wish time would ask permission before racing ahead. Yeah, I feel that one. But your phone doesn't care what you want. The insufferable screeching drills deeper into your skull. You throw back your dirty blankets, blindly reaching for the misbegotten beast. Pick up the phone. The slab of thumb-smudged plastic feels comfortable in your palm. Most call the device ancient, but to you it's cozy and familiar, like an old, if outdated, friend. No oversized touchscreen, no fancy graphics card for mobile games, no constant access or so-and-so G network. Just a simple tool with a cute antenna that still allows you time to disconnect. You've always appreciated the old and the analog. Despite the wider world's obsession with digitized progress, there's sincerity in physicality, a warmth to the object's weight. You cling to the relic as long as you can. Sensible upgrades be damned. You've acquired the old cell phone. You fiddle with the phone, desperate to stop the alarm, but no matter which button you press, the shrieking will not end. That's because this isn't your alarm at all. It's your ringtone. Squinting in the darkness, you barely make out the caller's ID. It's your aunt. Aunt/landlady, technically speaking. Hopefully, just your aunt today. The woman is exhausting enough when she isn't asking for rent payments, no matter how overdue they are. Still, should you really ignore a call from the one person still willing to support you between jobs? I'm gonna press the accept call. I have choices. We're making choices, everybody. We've already started. I don't know if this was a good one. The static crackles as your obsolete cell phone struggles to connect. After a sharp click, you mumble a hesitant hello.
Así mi clamo.
That was good. That was cool. Hey there, sweetie. Sorry for calling you out of the blue. Hope I'm not interrupting lunch. This scratchy facsimile, I can't even say it. You know what I'm saying. Of her bombastically condescending voice greets you on the line's other end. No mistaking your dear auntie. But what's this about lunch? You flick on a light and glance towards your microwave's LED clock display. A shameful number stares back at you from the room's abyss. 1:29 p.m. Yo, if that's not somewhat familiar. I'm kind of an owl, like a night owl. I do wake up late on some days. I felt that before. The writing so far, fantastic. I'm loving it. You wince and make up a half-baked lie pretending to talk with your mouth full. Your aunt doesn't seem to buy it. Well, I'm sure you're very busy with job applications today, so I'll get straight to the point. Do you have any idea when you'll be able to send me last month's rent? I know money's been tight lately, but it's already the 31st. One missed payment is bad enough, but two? Damn, landlady it is. You feel yourself deflate, glancing to the tower of rejected job applications standing proud and precarious upon your messy desk. The top sheet almost grazes your modest apartment's ceiling. Your aunt suggested to print each refusal, claiming they'd make your eventual hiring all the more rewarding. You found that harder and harder to believe ever since the letters started to outnumber the dollars in your bank account. I don't know why you would suggest that. You get so many more refusals than... and you only ever get like one yes. Why would this make anyone feel better? Why would this be motivating? You're just looking at a pile of your failures. I don't like this. Okay. Sweetie, do you have some kind of estimate for me? I would really need an answer today. I don't know. She seems like she's not gonna believe a lie. I don't know how she's gonna take it if we beg for more time to pay. Let's go with a lie. Let's try. Let's just see what happens. You give your best impression of a confident salesman, laughing away her worries. Of course you'll get the money. You have tons of promising interviews lined up. One is bound to work out. And when it does, you'll have such a crazy salary, you'll be able to pay the next 5 months in advance, or something. You pause dramatically, awaiting your aunt's amazed approval. All you get is her bitter disappointment. Sweetie, if this is how you behave during interviews, it's no wonder you haven't been hired yet. I can smell you lying from over here. Honestly, I'd be more than willing to forgive delays if I knew you were actually trying, but you can't expect me to believe you've been pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and giving this job hunt all you've got when you've been living in a pigsty for the past year. Pigsty? You deflect the woman's accusations, blabbering in desperate denial, but as your eyes drift over the sorry state of your apartment, your ramblings soon turn to tragic silence. You've been immune to the stench for a few months now, but no amount of time will ever make you blind to the altars of wretchedness your neglect has erected. Dang. I feel that. I feel that in my soul. Ugh, the altars of wretchedness. You just can't clean up after yourself. Like, come on, give him some help. He's obviously depressed and he needs not to be shamed. Okay, let's start with the floor. On the floor, crumpled stacks of crusty laundry litter the unmopped ground like landmines in an active war zone. Okay, that's fine. At my desk, fly-swarmed styrofoam contains amalgamate themselves to awkwardly unstable modern art installations. Maybe you could go for it and be a modern artist and recreate this whole scenario, and people would go to it and be like, oh, what a wonderful reflection of the human struggle. That's just me. Your largest one can only be referred to as the Leaning Tower of Takeout. Great title for an art piece. In the kitchen, filthy cookware overflows from your sink, bathed in rancid dishwater. A layer of film has formed on the surface thick as the crust of a creme brulee. I hate that. I love a creme brulee, and the fact that they just did this to my taste buds, I won't forgive them for that. And even in your fridge, the outdated contraption hums like a thermonuclear lawnmower. Even though you know damn well it's not keeping anything cool. Maybe ketchup packets if you're lucky. Pigsty or not, there's no denying this whole unemployment business has been taking a serious toll. One that's gone on long enough for your aunt's pity to become well-deserved contempt. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? It's not your fault those stupid companies won't hire overqualified geniuses. She's right, you're scum. Worse than scum, she should just evict you and get it over with. You're sick of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. Can't someone else pull them for you? I'm leaning towards the last one. I don't like... I don't like being like, oh, everyone else around me is stupid. I think it's even perhaps worse to be constant self-loathing. So I think I'm going with you're sick. I'm sick of this whole bootstrap situation. Someone else do it. You've become convinced that effort is overrated and wasted effort is downright offensive. Why keep applying to jobs if it never amounts to anything? Why clean your room if it just gets dirty again? Your precious time would be better spent sleeping in, waiting for money to magically appear. Exactly. I'm glad the game got it. Your aunt, quite obviously, does not share your optimistically apathetic philosophy. Honey, none of your efforts have been wasted because you haven't even made one yet. I mean, you show up late to every interview, you dress like a slob, and if you actually cooked once in a while instead of ordering in, you'd have enough money to buy an island nation. How is an employer supposed to trust you with keeping their business running if you can't even pretend to take responsibility for yourself? Keep choosing to be lazy, and people keep choosing not to give you a chance. Dang. I don't think that's helpful, Aunt. I've acquired plain old laziness. Oh no. Plain old laziness. Maybe I should have gone with the overqualified genius. You brace yourself as the woman prepares to deliver her most frequent, most frustrating spiel. You could probably repeat it word for word if ever you were held at gunpoint. Remember, sweetie, in our world, choices matter, the big ones and the small ones. We can't always take those decisions back, and we can't control their consequences either, which means we have to choose carefully. You most certainly have not been doing that. But if you have any intention of getting yourself out of this mess, you need to start making the right decisions, and soon. You mumble something non-committal, rolling your eyes at her endless nagging. The woman may be able to smell dishonesty, but she's nose blind to her own bullshit. Anywho, enough of that. The real reason I'm calling is because I might have an opportunity for you. We couldn't have started with that? I can tell by her inflection she means a job opportunity. Your reaction is practically Pavlovian. You salivate at the thought of your unrelenting financial woes finally coming to an end. You grip the cell phone tighter, aching with anticipation. See, there's this problem employee at our company. He works at one of the local branches right next to where you live, but the man has terrible attitude, and is even more terrible when it comes to, well, whatever it is you think we do over here. I don't know what that means. You picture her limply waving a wrist in some vague dismissive pattern. More of the highly confidential stuff she can't share, but brags about anyway. Not that you're entirely sure what your aunt actually does for a living. Sometimes it's something to do with human resources, maybe. Needless to say, we'll be laying off the little sourpuss as soon as a fitting replacement is found, but we need that replacement fast. Company has a big business deal coming up. We can't afford to be short on staff right now. Luckily, I happen to know a certain someone in dire need of a job, and this position happens to be entry level. No major qualifications needed. It even comes with a sterling letter of recommendation from yours truly. Now, this won't be an easy job. Supervisors are very strict, and anxiety has a way of following you home. But no, so long as you nail the interview, you're basically guaranteed stable income for as long as you need it. Smyrna Corp isn't prone to random layoffs. Oh man. Right now, that's one heck of a promise, to not be prone to random layoffs. Yeah. So how about it, sweetie? Shall I schedule something for you? Nope, we're definitely gonna ask for an interview. High stress environment or not, it beats homelessness by a country mile. You agree to the offer with ravenous insistence. The woman breathes a sigh of relief and lets out a nervous laugh. It almost sounds like she's in ecstatic disbelief. Thank goodness. You have no idea what it means to hear you say that, dear. You're literally saving my life. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You should probably be the one telling her that, but you won't complain about receiving gratitude instead of judgment for once. Yo, this should be a red flag for you, sir. Without missing a beat, your aunt hammers at her computer's keyboard, drafting an email. You clamber your way out of bed, tripping over day-old takeout and mounds of dirty underwear as you rush towards your laptop. I've booked the earliest appointment I could find. You should get an email with the time, address, and job description soon. Be sure to read everything carefully and do not be late. Mr. Burgard will skin me alive if I send him another unpunctual idiot. Oh, and try to show a little gusto out there. If Mr. Burgard thinks you're lazy, he might try to fix you rather than hire you. I don't know what that means. Jawar, hello, welcome in. How's it going, everybody? We're totally fine here. Jawar, hello. We're definitely not freaking out about whatever is happening in this game and whatever we've just agreed to. Fix you? Rather than offer answers, your aunt whispers farewell. Good luck, sweetie. I hope you'll forgive me for this someday. Dang. Y'all, do not go to an interview at this point. Like, homelessness sounds better. If your aunt is wishing that you forgive her someday. Click. The line goes deadly silent, save for a droning dial tone. You get an urge to call her back, but the ding of an invitation appearing in your inbox catches your attention. Uh-oh. The interview is today at 4 p.m. sharp, no less. You curse under your breath, rushing to shower and get dressed. Your stack of rejection letters gets knocked over by your charge and scatters across the room in a whirlwind of standard issue responses. You beg with every fiber of your being not to come home with a new failure to add to the pile. Proceed to the waiting room. We're gonna do it. We're gonna wait with gusto. I'm so scared, you guys. The packed full city transit bus comes to a creaking stop right in front of an old building you've never seen before. Shoving your way past crowded commuters, you step onto an empty sidewalk. The vehicle roars away, fading into the misty afternoon and leaving you utterly alone. You briefly wonder if getting off here was a mistake. You review your aunt's documents, poring over the civic number, street name, and postal code, as though every character were the cipher to some secret code. By the time you reach your third revision, you're forced to concede. This must be the right address, but it's not remotely what you expected. Nestled between two gleaming skyscrapers sits a much smaller, much stranger building. Unnerving facade, decorative windows. Let's go. Let's just go one by one. Glazed gray brickwork and pale veined marble unite to form a vast web of extravagant monochrome patterns, but despite all the details, the sum total still gives off a sense of cold, calculated purpose. Almost like an archaic graffiti artist were hired to redesign a palliative care center. The decorative windows, as you climb the front steps, a set of circular gold-tinted portholes stare down at you. They're unblinking, like eyes of giant deep-sea squids. The glass is too opaque to see through, yet you suspect someone is on the other side watching you approach. Jorah Hello says, I think even Jill can't squeeze off with their head in this game. You know what? I'd be surprised if I don't come with an off with your head at some point. Giant squid eyes looking at you. This is so good. I love the imagery in this. Okay, massive front gates. Made from half-ton hunks of glistening cast iron, the double doors have been decorated with an intricate bas-relief of skyscrapers swimming in fog. Bit ironic for such a stout little edifice. And the bronze door knocker. The alloy has been smelted into the shape of a crowned king's severed head. Off with their heads! Jawar, hello, in the chat. A crowned king's severed head. The object looks so realistic, you're scared it will be warm and wet to the touch. Unfortunately, you see no keypads, handles, or ID scanners that would allow for easier entry. The local branch of Smyrna Corp is only 4 stories tall and yet feels impossibly imposing. It's caught between outdated aesthetics and timeless sensibilities. Somehow, both outrageous yet invisibly subtle, as if meant to be forgotten at a passing glance and to haunt those whose gazes linger. You suspect you may be underdressed. As is customary, you wait until the very last minute to get dressed, tossing on the first thing that happened to be lying around. And judging by those looks you were getting on the bus, your impromptu fashion experiment may not have resulted in the new pinnacle of professional attire. Then again, there's only so many combinations of mustard-stained tees and sweatpants a single person can create, especially when they've deliberately not done any laundry lately. Regardless, what you've got will have to do. The hour of your interview approaches, and you won't have cash to afford a better outfit until this is your job. Reach for the knocker and bang it against the door. Let's do it. The bronze object booms against the iron gates even harder than your thumping heart. Moments later, something clicks and a latch comes undone. The doors groan themselves open, inviting you inside. That's such a good way to say that. The doors groan themselves open. You step into the building and are greeted by what seems to be a 5-star hotel's reception area. The room is utterly massive, with high ceilings that would rival a Renaissance church's cavernous belly. Its windows let no sunshine through, and no fluorescent bulb fill it with their pale glare. There are just low-hanging chandeliers and an array of green glass banker lamps, bathing the room in burnt orange. Upholstered sofas and coffee tables dot the space like an island, forming a winding path that leads to the room's distant depths. There, a woman stands behind a desk, flanked on each side by grillage elevators. Wow. The sharp, machine gun clatter of a mechanical keyboard echoes across the room. You appreciate an old and analog, but Smyrna Corp's apparent fondness is downright ridiculous. Hopefully the receptionist won't feel the same way about your subpar attire. Okay, let's pretend to be confident. Confidence is, pretend until you fake it till you make it. There you go. I can remember the phrase. Okay, with a little luck, it'll read as self-assurance instead of total fucking delusion. The dim lighting becomes dimmer the further you go, and thick shadows close in on you like claustrophobic walls. Wall-to-wall carpeting squishes under your feet. Ugh. The thing is, I can feel that. That's the problem with all of these. It's like, this is very well described. I can feel the carpet squishing. And an unfamiliar ammonia aroma assails your flared nostrils. Whatever they use to clean this place smells strong enough to double as a bioweapon, but still isn't enough to erase the lingering stench of cigarette smoke. The off-putting odor does suit the outdated decor, however. Except for those unsettling sculptures carved into the room's concrete support pillars, disturbing shapes that assail you from all sides, emerging from the shadows like pretentious interpretations of 21st century demons. God, I love it. What's on my left? Headless nude bodies are contorted in pain as veins sprout through their skin like a tree's sprawling roots. Okay, y'all, you tell me, so far, if you walked into this building and you had a job where your aunt was already asking you to forgive her, would you continue? On your right. A bleak rendition of what you assume to be Babel's Tower has been built out of steel girders, electrical wiring, and bones. Up ahead, You see human skulls whose scalps have exploded, revealing interwoven helixes of DNA strands in binary code. Man, this is... No, I'm turning around. I'm living on that bus if I have to. What happened to good old-fashioned gargoyles? Unsettled by your surroundings, your eyes drift back to the woman working the reception desk. There are letters engraved in the wall above her, spelling out a slogan in twinkling silver font. Memore perpetuus mutatio? Perpetual memory... I don't know what mutatio is. Could be muted. Mute memory in perpetuity? Is this like a severance situation? What are we doing? You don't know much about corporate branding, let alone Smyrna Corp's specific suite of services, but you're not sure how effective that cryptic slogan must be. Maybe you should have read your aunt's document more carefully? No, instead of sleeping on the bus, wondering how long this crap would keep you from the comfort of your bed. You wave hello to the receptionist. She doesn't even flinch. Her gaze remains glazed over, wholly focused on her work. She's younger than you. Thought at first, maybe 30. Likely, not quite. Sickly pale with sleep-deprived bags under her eyes, each one darker than the acrylic of her tidy black turtleneck. Her hair is knotted into a dainty bun, but her fingers devoid of polish or rings. They move across her keyboard like a demented tap dancer. Wait, no, not her keyboard, her typewriter. It's a really, really old one made from black brass plastic and way too many moving parts. A relic from the 1800s that looks like it barely scraped through both world wars. And you thought your laptop was getting old. There's also a small desk bell glimmering on the counter. Maybe you should. Yeah, I'm 100% gonna ring that. A pleasant ding resounds like clicking champagne glasses. The woman's head snaps forward as though struck by an electric shock. She flashes you a beaming, not quite pearl-white smile. Oh my gosh, I do not like the look of this woman that is staring at me right now. Girl, get some sleep, get out of here. Welcome to Smyrna Corp. Do you have an appointment? The words barely sleep through the woman's gritted teeth, her grin so tight it hurts to watch. But there's no trace of frustration. She's the dictionary definition of too friendly, made uncomfortably manifest. Unsettled, you stumble your way through an explanation of your aunt's referral. The receptionist replies with a nod, squinting as she reads the writing on her typewriter's latest sheet. Ah, of course we've been expecting you. I'm afraid Mr. Beauregard is running a little late this afternoon. He'll need a few more minutes until he's ready to speak with you. But you're more than welcome to peruse our visitor handbooks while waiting. She gestures to a set of nearby couches and a table chock full of company pamphlets. But you're more surprised to notice someone else already sitting there, a young man with a bitter look etched into his furrowed face. Could this be? I don't think it's an irate customer. I don't think they would let irate customers hang around. I think it's another job applicant. Shit, your aunt never mentioned competition. And if they turn out to be competent, you could be in big trouble. Your bleak musings are cut short by the receptionist's unpainted nails tapping at her name tag. Melusine. I'm a Melusine, by the way. I'm gonna call you Mel. I'll call you as soon as Mr. Beauregard becomes available. In the meantime, please let me know if you have any questions. With a grateful, albeit embarrassed nod, you walk away and slump into an old-fashioned sofa. Mel's rickety typewriter clacking away once more. The couch cushions feel quite stiff. Or maybe your stressed clenched back does. Considering the ferocious stare down you're receiving from the stranger seated across from you, it could well be the latter. The steady tick of vantage clocks draw your gaze. Its hands point in opposite directions. 3:42 p.m. 18 minutes left. That's pretty, like, he was talking about feeling late, but getting to an appointment more than 15 minutes ahead of time, that seems like it might be a good thing, but having been on both sides of that process, it's not really. So if the person interviewing him is already running late, that means he's going to be there for over, I don't know, at least 20 minutes, 25, maybe 30 minutes, and then he's going to feel bad. The person who's interviewing him is going to feel bad. Like, it's not a good situation. If you're going to an interview, get there 15 minutes early. Just a little life wisdom. Maybe that's changed since I've interviewed. Okay, good thing you came early. You still have time to prepare your interview. You should do that beforehand, but probably not enough to do everything you want. You'll have to decide where to spend it carefully. Okay, you guys, this is going to be us. This is going to be all of our decision. Okay. Are we going to read through those pamphlets and find out more about the company? Always a good idea. Mel said she could answer a few questions. We could ask Mel some questions. Strike up a conversation with the irated man. Maybe you can learn something from him. And there's a magazine on the coffee table. Give it a closer look. Okay, so I'm going to work through these. I think the worst option for us is to talk to the angry dude. I don't think it's good to talk to someone who's stressed, who maybe is trying to put you off your game so that you do worse, so that you don't do well. Jawar Hello says we're going to ask Mel some questions. So let's ask Mel some questions. You know, usually the person doing the interview will check in with the person at the front desk or any of the front-facing staff that might have talked to you to see what your demeanor was at the time. So maybe if we're friendly with Mel, you know, maybe that'll get us some points. I like it. Despite her extreme fatigue and even extremer stress levels, the woman definitely seemed eager to lend a hand, and what better way is there to learn about your new workplace than to ask the person paid to greet visitors? You return to the reception desk with an awkward wave, embarrassed to be disrupting the receptionist's work so soon after leaving. Yet rather than appear annoyed, the woman looks up from her typewriter with a sigh of relief, the air seeping through her vice-tight teeth with a shrill tea kettle whistle. Oh, hello again. I take it you have a few questions for me. As a disclaimer, please be advised that Smirnocorp staff cannot disclose any confidential information to members of the public. Therefore, while I respond to your queries as to the best of my abilities, there may be certain details I'm forbidden to discuss. Thank you in advance for understanding. The easy first impression Mel gave you worsens with every word she speaks, and not just because she keeps talking without blinking her bloodshot eyes or clenching her goddamn jaw. Even though the receptionist's response seemed professional, her tone is perfectly jovial. Something about her speech pattern feels rigidly urgent, almost like she's reading the words off a script with a gun pressed to the back of her head. Not thanking you for understanding, but begging you to. Is she scared of getting in trouble by letting something sensitive slip, or is she trying to secretly warn you about the office's working conditions? So, what would you like to know? Okay, we're going to use sly phrasing to squeeze out some advice about how to ace this interview. Ask what it's like to work at Smirnocorp, find out how stressful it really is. And maybe this isn't the right person to interrogate. Get your information from a more reliable source. No, we're going to talk to Mel. So that's out of there. I feel like she's not going to tell us anything real about the company. We're just going to get like platitudes and slogans. So maybe we use sly phrasing. Maybe we're sly here. Play it cool. We're just like, hey Mel, you and me, we're hanging out. We're being cool. We're gonna talk about what's going on with this interview. Okay, looks like chat's with me. It's not like you want to land Mel in hot water, but you flop too many job opportunities by playing nice. You need every edge you can get to earn a steady paycheck. Playing coy, smiling broadly, you ask if she has any tips to make a positive first impression in the upcoming meeting. The woman looks startled by your question, her grin tightening even more as she mulls over her response. You suddenly realize her teeth are strangely flat, as though worn down by years of grinding. Although it sounds like working at this company isn't a good idea in the first place, maybe we should turn it around. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think we're committed at this point, so we're going to find out. Plus, Jawar, hello. You missed all of the unboxing. I've got a bunch of... I don't think I have the ability to turn around because I already have an employee badge with my face on it. So, you know, I have to play along. Okay. The best advice I have for any candidate is to just be yourself. Smyrna Corp prides itself on a diversity of creeds, cultures, and ideas, coming to its rich, thriving workplace. But, regarding Mr. Beauregard, he's a man who, highly values those capable of following rules. Our work involves a lot of private information, non-disclosure agreements, you see. It's very, very important that you respect any directive he gives you and answer all his questions honestly. It was very official. Just to see my face, I've got a lanyard. I have a microchip I needed to put into my hand via stabbing my hand with a pen. That was a wild time. Okay, we're going to answer honestly. Not exactly a riveting revelation. You gently urge Mel to tell you more, hinting at just how life-changing this job could be for you. It doesn't take much exaggeration to embellish that truth. At first, the receptionist remains unfazed by your blabbering pleas, but then her tense expression softens, revealing unexpected melancholy. Oh, I missed the pen surgery. I gotta go back to the beginning of the stream, I guess. Chwar, hello. That's what happens when you're late. What kind of world would you rather live in? A utopia where no one is allowed to be different, or a dystopia where people can remain unique? I mean, there is a lot of literary examination into this question. I think for the most part, dystopia, a unique dystopia is better. That's me. I don't know. Let me know. Conformity is a small price to pay for the world, is for world peace, or a world where no one can be themselves sounds like the real dystopia. I think that's where I'm gonna go. But it doesn't sound like I'm gonna ace this interview if I say that, but utopias are inherently impossible. Perfection for one person often excludes the ideals or identities of others, sometimes even entailing the erasure of cultures and creeds based solely upon difference. For all the messiness it entails, a richer breadth of people and perspectives can only make the world better. For a brief moment, you see Mel's tight smile waver, her tired eyes suddenly twinkling with pleasant surprise. Even her voice loses its formal stiffness as she speaks with a comforted sigh. Yeah, I think the world would be better if more people thought that way too. You wonder if this is what Mel really looks like when her happiness is genuine, but you don't get the chance to wonder for too long. As quickly as it vanished, the forced smile returns. The receptionist's insomnia-darkened eyelids flutter, blinking away her own unexpected vulnerability. Her teeth grind together, scared that she shared something that could land her in trouble. Sorry about that. Seems my mind's wandering from lack of sleep. I've had long work shifts lately. While we share your opinion, I think you should refrain from voicing such problematic interpretations of human society to Mr. Beauregard. He highly values doing things by the book, you see, so be sure to remain as conservative and considerate as possible during his post-interview evaluation. Okay. Oh, evaluation. Your aunt didn't tell you to prepare for anything like that. Panic must be plainly written on your face because the receptionist is quick to hush you, the same way one would a skittish horse. No need to be afraid. The fact you're here to begin with means there's practically no way you could actually fail the exam. Just try to please Mr. Beauregard and everything should go just fine. But if I give you one word of warning, be very careful with your answers. The questions you're given might seem fairly pointless at first, but their consequences are very real. Depending on what you say, innocent people could... Tut tut tut, no spoiling the surprise. Oh no, what is going to happen to innocent people? What am I going to do? A booming voice rumbles across the reception room. Mel stiffens as though struck by lightning. Clenching her smile tighter than ever, her heels click together like a soldier waiting for inspection. Another click is heard behind you as the angry stranger on the couch stiffens the same way. Their reactions make no sense until you turn to face the voice, and then you two go rigid with awestruck shock. Standing in front of the elevator, without exaggeration, is the most massive man you've ever seen. He's taller than a fridge, twice as wide and perhaps thrice as heavy. The pure white of his immaculate dentistry contrasts with his dark skin, which reflects the room's dim light like finely chiseled onyx. Beneath the perfectly tailored pattern of his elegant tweed suit, muscles shift with every breath, threatening to burst through the seams. His pale blue eyes focus on you as he speaks with a voice like velvet thunder. My humble apologies for interrupting your enthralling conversation, friend. Our dear Mel is sometimes a little careless when it comes to discussing confidential company matters, but I'll gladly state your curiosity in her stead during our interview. Interview, huh? This must be Mr. Burgard. Your soon-to-be boss, luck willing. The ding of an elevator is suddenly heard, and one of the grillage doors by the reception desk creaks open. The tweed behemoths... What a great description. Sidles his way into the shaft, packed tighter than tuna in a too small can. He beckons you to join him with a bratwurst thick finger. Come along now, we're already behind schedule and can't afford any more delays. What's more, I frankly cannot wait to discuss your future with us here at Smyrna Corp. Holy shit, he thinks you have a future. I mean, I think at this point, I'm surprised you think you have a future. Come on, man, run! In that moment, Mr. Beauregard's big, beaming smile is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Thank him and slip into the elevator. It's a tight fit, but you manage to wiggle yourself into the lift by nuzzling up your, hopefully, future boss. You apologize profusely for the cramped conditions and he just laughs it off. No need to be embarrassed, happens all the time. Oh, and no need for all this Mr. Beauregard stuff either. First name basis is fine by me. Before the elevator door can snap shut, someone opens their mouth and screams. Oh, but yeah, wait! The angry-looking man you are worrying about suddenly drops to his knees, hands held together in prayer. Any aura of danger that once clung to him has been dispelled by his blubbering supplication. I'm begging you. Just give me another chance. I swear I'll do anything. Unpaid overtime. I'll work on weekends. I'll kiss your goddamn shoes if I have to. Just please don't replace me. Oh, this is my replacement, y'all. They made him sit in the waiting room and look at me. Mr. Burgard's only reply is a disappointed sigh. His bright smile wavers, and tangible contempt taints his otherwise welcoming tone. Mr. Aguilar, you've had more second chances than I can count, and displaying such undignified desperation in front of a candidate set to take over your position is not an endearing choice. Frankly, there's nothing more I can or want to do for you beyond offering the standard company-issued severance package. Oh shit. This is the problem employee your aunt was talking about. The lamb brought to slaughter, also that you can survive on the paycheck they used to have. Either way, Mr. Burgard's words have the effect of an ice pick through the heart. Once the intimidating stranger collapses as though shot through the chest, his body ripples with hiccuping wails, his fist powerlessly pounding at the carpeted floor. Your maybe future boss clicks his tongue, more disappointed than disturbed. He turns to give Mel a firm look and firmer orders. Miss Saint-Saëns, please ensure our former staffer behaves until his offboarding is complete, will you? I'll attend to him once I'm done with our guest. Man, why am I not running? I'm bolting out of here so quickly. The woman gives him a nervous nod, rushing back to her typewriter as if nothing happened. The clacking keys are now punctuated by the tears of a grown man. That's just being in this industry, I'll tell you what. Obia thumbs a few buttons, and the elevator doors finally slide shut, Through cracks in the grillage gates, you see the receptionist giving you a small wave, mouthing a worrisome farewell. Good luck. Before you can decide whether she was cheering you on or trying to warn you, the floor lurches downwards. We're proceeding to the interview, everybody. Are we ready? I've got my packet. I've got my pamphlet so I know what to do. I'm ready. Elevator music. Perfect. The interview. After descending a short way, the elevator slows to a crawl, then comes to a complete stop, groaning under the combined mass of its unevenly weighted passengers. For a moment, you worry the cables have jammed. Clearing his throat, Mr. Burgard reaches over your shoulder and points to the lift's control panels. Would you do me the honor of entering our meeting room's access password? If you're going to be working here, you may as well learn how to travel across the office. Just type in that series of things, if you please. Oh, and no need to be too brisk about it. Precision matters more than speed with these old doodads. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, precision. I didn't know if he was going to actually ask me to do it. I got it. Pie. Hook. Shepherd's hook. Did we get it? The interviewer chuckles as he watches you fiddle with the electric cymbals, amused by your apparent unfamiliarity. No doubt he's used to employees entering these combinations with the routine deafness of jaded shoppers typing their PIN numbers during credit card transactions. You're still not sure why he's making you type the password in, or why the elevator uses passwords in the first place. Wouldn't keycards be easier? Or normal numbers, at least? Regardless, as the last button clicks into place, the elevator resumes its descent in an increased momentum, plunging deep into the earth with no sign of stopping. After almost 20 seconds, you wonder if it's headed for the planet's core. You'll have to beg my pardon for the sluggishness. What? No, that's backwards. You'll have to beg my pardon for the sluggishness. No, that's backwards. I don't like that he's just said this. I've petitioned to have this thing replaced, but the encryptology department refuses to let us invest in newer models. Potential security risks, or so they claim. Boogeyman hogwash, I say. An upgrade has been long overdue. Maybe once our deal with Radium finally goes through, they'll be a bit more welcoming of true progress. I don't like any of this. You nod along politely, pretending to understand what he means. You're unsure the display looks convincing. Still, by the sound of it, you'll be stuck here for a while. How do you kill time? I don't actually want to talk to this guy, I feel. But it's probably if you're... Yeah, Jor, hello, it's what I'm saying. You have to beg my pardon. Like, the phrase should be, I beg your pardon. Like, I'm sorry that there are things that are happening that are not convenient to you. But you have to beg my pardon? Very threatening. Do I give the elevator buttons a close look? Or talk to Obia to explain his employee's unusual behavior? I feel like in an interview situation, I would be trying to talk to this guy because I'm trying to, like, have a good impression. So let's try talking to him. But I wouldn't talk about this situation. Might need to use that surgical pen as a weapon to get out of here. I've got it. I've got it handy. Here we go. Surgical pen. You mumble the question, half embarrassed and half afraid of Mr. Burgard's potential reaction. His blue eyes fill with bitter disappointment, though his good mood doesn't waver. Miss St. Sens unfortunately hasn't been on her best behavior these past few weeks. No doubt the upcoming Radiant partnership has been causing her undue stress, but still, exceptional as she may be, exhaustion is no excuse to behave so inappropriately with a guest, is it? What does that mean? What does that mean? You nod in response, despite being baffled by his answer. You thought the woman was a little odd, sure, but nothing problematic, not in any way you noticed. Before you can request clarification, Mr. Burgard's prior cheeriness returns in full force. However, let it be known that I expect no such attitude problems from you, friend. The woman who recommended you for this position, your aunt, I believe, she had nothing but great things to say. She told me you were one of the most energetic, hardworking, and punctual people she's ever met. And an employee with such commitment to positive workspace values sounds like just the kind of addition Spirnakorf could use right now. That's definitely us, energetic, we're hardworking, and punctual. We actually were very punctual for this interview. So, especially even taking public transit, you have to really take into account all the things that can go wrong in public transit. So, I think he actually is a fairly punctual person. You answer the giant's compliment with an awkward chuckle. Internally, however, you are screaming. Why did that woman have to lie about the one thing she knows you're terrible at? Which is to say, making an effort. Was she trying to get you in trouble? Or is this her way of pressuring you into getting your shit together ASAP? As you force yourself to smile through an impending panic attack, the elevator comes to a grinding halt, its grillage door sliding open. Oh, I'm going to squeeze my way right out of there. It's a bit of a battle to wiggle past Obuya, though you soon find yourself free of the claustrophobic lift, breathing a little easier. Mr. Burgard follows suit, flipping a light switch to illuminate the otherwise pitch-black room. Welcome to my humble office. Okay, let's see what his office looks like, everybody. Ah, so that's what this place is. An office wouldn't have been your first guess. The rectangular space before you is reminiscent of an oversized police interrogation room. The walls are painted glossy black, glistening in the sepia glow of a low-hanging ceiling lamp. And if it weren't for the obvious two-way mirror in the back, the room would appear infinite in size, a boundless expanse of inky shadow extending in every direction. That's not what your office looks like? That's what my office has always looked like. A single desk sits at the room's center, made from a block of carved mahogany. Coffee-stained paperwork covers its surface like some madman's wallpaper, and countless colored wires sprawl across the floor, as though the varnished wood had somehow sprung electrical roots. Leather chairs fit to dwarf royal thrones loom over both ends of the table, no doubt custom built to accommodate Mr. Burgard's colossal frame. The behemoth briskly mentions for you to take a seat, but you sink so far into the plush leather, it feels more like the seat takes you. Prying yourself out of these comfortable depths, your eyes turn to the sparse assortment of unusual baubles decorating the table's corners. On this side, there's an antique candlestick phone, whose mouthpiece is made to look like a large roosting bat. What? Why would you want a bat phone? Oh my gosh. Unless... On that side, there was an old-fashioned record player adorned with gaudily gilded Sirmacorp logo. Okay, he's got some records going on. Right in front of you, there's a nameplate engraved with the words Obia Burgard, Senior Substitution Department Supervisor. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the substitution department does. Scattered all over the place, there are piles of VHS cassettes, each one labeled with tags written in Latin, Farsi, and ancient Greece. I mean, the fact that you can recognize all of these is pretty cool. The item which perplexes you the most, however, is an old vinyl record snugly wrapped in yellow keep out tape. The Mr. Beauregard notes your interest with a amused arch of his brow. You wouldn't happen to be a fan of jazz, would you? No. Yeah, definitely. We're so interested in jazz. Obia's smile can grow no bigger, but it certainly shines brighter upon hearing your enthusiastic answer. I'm quite excited to find out that a fellow connoisseur will think of this particular gem. Carefully placing the confidential vinyl onto an old record. I'm kind of afraid. Mr. Burgard lowers the needle and bids you listen. Strange, somber soundscape slowly fills the office with a blues-inspired rhythm. You can't quite compare it to anything you've heard before. It's not appalling, per se. It's perhaps a little messy and eerie enough to make you uncomfortable. The duet voices of a man and woman muttering warbled lyrics only adds to the strangeness. You can't make out a word they're saying except for the chorus verse. Let's call the whole thing off. Gina and Herschel Gershwin. Twins, if you were wondering. Not a couple, despite all the turbulent rumors that once surrounded their odd relationship. I've never met them myself, but I do know they could have been bigger than the Beatles back in the band's heyday. The biggest case of my career was making sure they wouldn't be. And I always found it tragic that only one of their records was left intact in the world, though I also feel quite lucky to be the man who owns it. Few will ever have the privilege of hearing such avant-garde work. What? His biggest case was making sure the Beatles would be bigger than these people? You utter a few admirative oohs and ahs, feigning interest to conceal your perplexity. What does a human resource company have to do with ruining musicians' careers? And how could Obia be employed, let alone alive, during the birth years of rock and roll? He's not that old, is he? Before you scrutinize the man's non-existent wrinkles, he promptly clears the stray documents from his desk, making space for a repulsively familiar sheet of paper. Your loathsome fucking resume, laid bare for the world to gawk at. Ah, you're sick of seeing that thing. Obia interlaces his fingers, pale eyes darkening into a severe stare. You suddenly find yourself keenly aware of just how dangerous the man could be, should he choose to embrace violence over verbal repartee. Time to begin our little interview. I'll be asking you a series of questions. Okay, everyone, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for the interview. Some will appear rather peculiar, others rather innocuous. They may be difficult to answer at times, as you've not been made fully aware of your position, nor of Smirnocorp's company goals. However, I still request that you provide honest and instinctive responses, regardless of the context. They'll give us a better idea of the role you'll be assigned during your time among us. Okay. I think we need to take the receptionist's advice and be a little cautious here and not go 100% with our gut and not be like a freedom fighter or anything. Because I think we're going to get murdered if that's the case. Or someone else. Something about innocent people. Before you have... You have to ace an interview before being told about the job you're applying for? What a mess. Either Smirnocorp is an unintuitive hiring process, or their non-disclosure agreements are so incestuously interwoven that no one can get any work done without being strangled to death by red tape. Still, Obia's words make one thing clear. The only way you'll get hired and earn a salary to pay the rent you owe is by acing this goddamn interview, no matter what it takes. Okay? Give a firm nod, because we're here at an interview. We're giving the firm nods. We are faking it till we're making it. Obia chortles with satisfaction the sound is deep and rumbling as the rock slide at the bottom of a well. Why would there be a rock slide at the bottom of a well? Wonderful, let's get started. Question 1. A runaway locomotive is barreling down a set of railroad tracks at an uncomfortable speed. In its path lay 5 people tied down and unable to move. If nothing is done, the locomotive will surely crush them and end their lives. You stand in a train yard next to a large lever. This is literally a psychological problem. It's going to be like my aunt on the other side. You know that if you pull it, the locomotive will divert its track to a separate track. However, this will cause it to crush a different person who's also tied down to this alternative path. How do you ensure all 6 people escape this tragedy alive? Okay. That's not quite the where do you see yourself in 5 years shtick you're used to. How the hell are you supposed to respond? Assuming you can operate that lever, you might also know how to remotely trigger the emergency brakes. You run fast and have deft hands. Untie everyone before the train arrives. Dodge the question by discussing other ethical conundrums and how they expose moral biases. I'm going to assume I know how to operate. I know what the operator leveler is doing. Maybe I know how the emergency brakes work. I also am really afraid that I might actually be killing people. You know, you're not exactly the foremost authority on train yard technological advances, but you're pretty sure conductors have developed multiple automated and manual fail-safes specifically to prevent cartoonish catastrophes like this. If not, you have a $1 million idea to pitch. It's an impressively refreshing answer, although to be candid, many representatives in the department would strongly disagree with your technology-based solution. Oh, okay. Well, fine. The Tweed Behemoth gestures to the yellowing documents strewn about his desk and the baubles at the corners. All of them appear ancient enough to have been stolen from unsuspecting museums' oldest shelves. But he already said he wanted progress, so we've made him happy at least. That's okay. Smyrna Corp was built on a simple idea that humankind's potential must not become entrapped by progress's false promises of privacy. Efficiency is no excuse to discard anonymous practicality. Our old hat philosophies and reliance on archaic devices have kept this company on path to success for decades. But the world is changing. We cannot remain blind to the additional insights technology can provide. After all, how can we think outside the box if we lack the tools to grasp how big the box has become, especially in our ever so chaotic digital era? I'm not quite sure how to respond to that, let alone how it applies to human resources, but he still managed to stammer out some words of agreement which hopefully imply you were thinking the same thing. Oh my gosh, our profile has changed and we have technological literacy. Now, moving right along to question 2, could you kindly rephrase your greatest flaw so it sounds like your greatest strength? Be advised, I do not want to hear of any of that cowardly, I'm too much of a perfectionist, or I'm a huge workaholic. Most folk use to try to make themselves sound flawless. I want a proper, blameworthy weakness reconfigured into a proper, praiseworthy strength. This makes me think of a joke, but it is not perhaps good for stream. One day, ask me what it is in person and I'll tell you. The behemoth leans forward and the room's darkness looms with him, but close in around you like the walls of a solitary confinement cell or the rope of an eager hangman's noose. Better think of something good. Okay. You browse social media during work hours, but it keeps you updated on current events and trends. Okay? You spend too much time chatting with coworkers. It helps you understand them and cooperate effectively. You often try solving problems with brawn, not brains, but you're in great shape, so it works out. Can't just use a good joke. Jor, hello. Come and find me at PAX. Come to PAX. I'll tell you the joke. I'll probably forget what you're referencing, but, you know. I think I'm chatting with coworkers is going to be my actual thing. Because we already went the tech route. We don't need that. I think we need charisma at this point. Come to PAX? That's an expensive joke. It's going to be a heck of a... it's going to be a heck of a joke. I promise. I think, yeah. Chatting. I'm going to chat. Wars waged with unmastered weapons are doomed to fail. Sun Tzu said that, you think. Or maybe it was a World War II general. Or the hero from that kung fu movie you watched as a teen. Point is, swapping gossip doesn't just provide drama, it reveals what your teammates are truly capable of. That, I must confess, is an exceptional response. To work at Smyrna Corp is to plunge into the very fabric of human psychology and unravel every thread of it on a daily basis. Understanding who people are, their wants, needs, aspirations is integral to helping them become the people they should be. And no one can achieve such understanding by working alone. Therefore, extending that same level of consideration to one's colleagues is an extremely wise initiative to augment our efficiency. Impressive stuff for a new recruit. The man gestures with a theatrical flourish as he makes the declaration, but his conviction sounds too genuine to come off as arrogant. You can conceal a satisfied grin, picturing how spectacular the man's water cooler small talk must be. Okay, social aptitude is up. We're good. Now then, onward with our final inquiry regarding your schooling. I would like for you to, well, if you could just explain the, goodness, how do I phrase this delicately? The behemoth's word trailed into muttered mumbles, his velvet thunder voice degrading into something more akin to a bumblebee stuck in a big dog's mouth. That is such a good phrase. His blue eyes dart between you and the paper's underwhelming bullet points with increasingly disgusted concern, as though finally noticing what kind of unemployable aberration has stepped into his building. It's an unfortunately common reaction to anyone who reads your CV. The singers on the record player shout a loud suggestion to just call the whole thing off. Their advice, for better or worse, goes unheeded. Well, at the risk of sounding insensitive, I truly appreciate some insight regarding your academic background. How do you believe a workplace of our nature could benefit from hiring someone with such a dubious,ly incompatible education? You begin sweating bullets. Big bullets. The kind of caliber robot cops must use in action movies from the 80s. Of course, it was going to come down to this. No matter how dearly you wish it were possible, you can't magically go back in time and study something more prestigious for today's job market. But you might be able to describe your weird diploma in a way that makes a strikingly employable impression. Okay. You studied ultimate frisbee, the apex of education for any teamwork-loving athletic superstar. You studied computer science. You're skilled with technologies old and new. Like, I feel like computer science isn't something to be upset about. So, I don't know. Ultimate frisbee, though, would be good. You studied child psychology. You're good at reading people and creating emotional rapport. Okay. I'm metagaming here a little bit. I'm seeing the strings behind what's going on. We've already picked technology. We have a +2. We've already picked, like charisma. We've got a +2 to that. Do we want to round ourselves out and also be athletic? Or do we want to add to one of our already plus traits to make ourselves better in one? Gotta min-max those stats. Okay, Jawarla, what do you think? Where are we going in this in this lovely workplace that we found ourselves in? Are we psychology? Okay. Obviously very important. We gotta create those emotional rapports. You're unsure what kind of services Smyrna Corp really offers, but there's no doubt social sciences could come in handy with human resources. By honing your communication skills and providing extra insight into people's personality quirks, your schooling could prove useful in dealing with clients and coworkers. This whole company seems psychologically dangerous. Could come in handy. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. Discuss some of the intricacies of your most memorable seminars, specifically those concerning mental development and lingering infant trauma known to emerge decades later. Examples of how early experiences inform otherwise incoherent attitudes among grown adults. Mr. Burgard's concerns mellow into curiosity with every passing explanation. Then, as the story concludes, he regards you with outright admiration. I can't even begin to explain how often our Smyrna Corp representatives fail to consider the significance of formative experiences when it comes to mapping out an individual's psyche. Childhood memories are oft overlooked and yet integral in determining the root cause of a client's wants, fears, or failings. In our most extreme cases, identifying these roots is utterly essential to success. The fact you have such a thoughtful and informed perspective before starting your first day, no less, is truly, truly incredible. Correcting human behavior is a complicated, multi-layered process, but your pre-existing awareness of the fact is a major asset. Yeah. It's flattery sends swarms of butterflies fluttering about your stomach. It's been a while since you've last received such a compliment, let alone actual pride in yourself, as opposed to the usual undercurrent of exhausted shame. Ironically, a therapist would probably have questions for you about that. You've acquired child psychology specialization. Your profile has social aptitude +2. Okay, so we are social aptitude +4. technology aptitude +2, and we're just not athletic in any way. That concludes the questionnaire for today. As for your results, okay, everyone, let's do it. The man's enormous finger crumple into your CV into a ball and toss it aside. It bounces across the wire-laden floor, disappearing into an inky corner of the abysmal room. Your chest tightens, panic swells. Catastrophic scenarios and thoughts of crushing failure explode throughout your head. Obia's beaming smile diffuses them all. To tell you the truth, this little meeting of ours was nothing more than a corporate-mandated formality between your aunt's glowing recommendation and the fact that you showed up to her offices on such short notice. I knew from the start that I'd be wanting you on board. After this discussion, I'm pleased to announce that my hunch has been confirmed, and I am most pleased to be extending you a permanent employment offer. We did it, everybody. We're employed at a job which is obviously not problematic at all and is not going to be scary or worrisome. I don't have to worry why someone has told me to take this red card instead of the green card I was given. I don't have to worry about the handwritten note I received before starting this game. I don't have to worry about the fact that I had to do surgery on my hand in order to put in a microchip. Chihuahua says, congratulations, we're gonna die. And I think that's an excellent way to end this stream. I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. Again, I'm going to be at PAX next week, so I won't be streaming, and I have a really cool special, possibly secret, I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, thing that's happening the next week after that. So I don't know the next time that I'll stream, but I hope everybody goes and has a great time. Go check out Ludo Narracon. It's happening right now until May 5th. There are a lot of really great demos going on, but I will see you soon, I hope.